I gotta say, we're witnessing something incredible right now. I'm talking about a spectacle, an absolute catastrophe, that's playing out right before our eyes, and I gotta give it to you, it's a reality show for the ages.
I feel like the audience and people up here are not willing to teach. Mel is the only one. I say that because a lot of times when they write about the questions that I ask, they go, I can't believe Queenzflip asks the stupid questions, not knowing that I'm really learning in real time and I've just been secluded in life. I just been in my own world, so I come up here, I want to learn.
You ask some interesting questions.
They
be
a little...
But then you ask
Yo, you know Jay-Z started Rockefeller with Biggs and Dame together?
That's dumb. But what I'm saying, the questions I ask is because it's... And I be... When I read it after they post it, like, that does sound crazy. That is stupid.
You just got to remember that most of the audience is licensed.
Oh, mature.
If you remember that one little tidbit that most of them have a license, then
Man,
you'll be in a good spot.
Joe, you could. I learned in real time. A lot of. I just like, oh, word. I just been in my own world, man.
Yeah, but you're not up here to learn. You're up here to work. That's like if I go buy a Red Bull, fucking Gatorade come out. It's like you are just be some energy,
so
just jump in, and then chill. Like, you ain't gotta. You guys, so I have a question for you. You ask more questions than that.
I do that stupid shit.
Yeah. Here's a question for you. What year did Coca-Cola sell more than Pepsi? Like.
Be like questions a kid asks you and shit.
Yeah.
It's
like this pod, if we was all just like left back. Like,
Joe, that's not like,
if we got
Joe, you can't tell your man that.
No, I'm not talking to you. It's all of us. There's no I in team. It's all of us. Like if all of us got on the short dollar van. The short one.
But it was yellow, and we got to school that way.
They stayed in the same classroom all day.
In the trailer.
Right in the back.
And ate pizza.
Get your laugh out.
I'm not laughing.
I want to thank you for taking your time to help me, Mel.
And
I'm on your case a lot, but you help me.
And there's times where you do ask some very thought-provoking questions.
Thank you, Mel.
You know, I'm shooting you some.
You know, I try to
the
answer
funny part,
too.
yeah, that's why she's so funny. Because you help her in real life. Like with all her pontifications.
So she has no problem answering.
Yeah, in real life, you are a solid source of info for her.
But in pod life?
Yeah, in pod life.
Hey, one time I was watching something and I asked a question. I saw Mel's face. I'm like, look, that dumb. Mel was like, huh? She tried to play it off. You got to watch these cameras.
Yeah. My bad.
So grab your popcorn, sit back, relax, and let me take you through this wild ride of nonsense, confusion, and just flat-out ridiculousness. Yes, I'm talking about the roast of Queenzflip, the man who, bless his heart, keeps asking the dumbest, most nonsensical questions on the planet, all while thinking he's dropping knowledge on the world. Yeah, that's right. This dude is asking questions that make you scratch your head and wonder, did this guy really just say that? But don't get it twisted. There's a little bit more to this tale than just a bunch of ridiculousness. There's some deeper lessons to be learned here too. But first, let's break down the scene, because, trust me, this is an epic roast in the making. Now, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I've seen some wild moments in podcasting, some absolute gems. But what's been happening on Joe Budden's podcast with Queenzflip and the crew? Oh, it's something else. You see, Queenzflip, bless his heart, has been out here asking questions that are so outlandish, so disconnected from reality, you gotta wonder if this dude been living under a rock somewhere. It's almost like he walked into the podcasting game with no map, no GPS, and no clue how to navigate through a conversation. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Now, Queenzflip is out here, claiming he's trying to learn. He says he's just been in his own world and wants to learn from the people around him. And you know what? I get it. We all want to learn. But this guy's idea of learning is, let's just say it's a little unorthodox. When you've got a platform like Joe Budden's podcast, you've got access to some of the sharpest minds in the game. You've got knowledge right at your fingertips. But instead of absorbing that knowledge like a sponge, Queenzflip's out here asking questions that honestly make you question if he's been living in a different universe. Let's break this down for a second. You ever sit in a room with someone and they ask a question so out of pocket you just have to stop and ask yourself, did they really just say that? That's what Queenzflip has been doing. The man is asking questions that have people on the podcast literally laughing in disbelief. They're sitting there like, did this guy really just ask what year Coca-Cola sold more than Pepsi? Like what? Are we in a trivia game or a real conversation about something meaningful? What do we even do with that? Is he serious, or is this some kind of performance art? Honestly, you can't tell the difference anymore. At first, I thought Joe and the crew were just letting Queenzflip get away with it. Maybe they were trying to be nice. Maybe they were thinking, all right, he's new, let's cut him some slack. But no, Joe Budden and the rest of the crew are like, hold up, man, we're not going down this road with you. They're not just letting it slide. Oh no, they're roasting him left and right, and it's hilarious. Joe's out here throwing jabs left and right. He's looking at Queenzflip like, bro, we didn't come here for a game of Stump the Dummy. We came here to have a real conversation. But it's more than just a roast. Joe Budden, as always, is a man of contradictions. He'll call you out, roast you, make you laugh, and then in the same breath, drop a nugget of wisdom that actually makes you think. That's Joe's magic. He's a master of the verbal jab, the one-liner, and the quick comeback. But underneath all that, he's got a point. The crew's frustration with Queenzflip is clear. They're sitting there trying to have a serious discussion, and Queenzflip is asking questions that belong in the realm of high school pop quizzes. It's like trying to run a marathon while your teammate is stuck in first gear. Everyone waiting for Queenzflip to catch up, but it's clear he's not quite on the same page. The question, though, isn't whether Queenzflip is asking dumb questions. The real question is, why is he still asking them, and why is no one teaching him better? Now, this is where it gets interesting. Enter Melissa Ford. Now, I gotta say, Melissa is like a shining beacon of sanity in this madness. While the rest of the crew is laughing at Queenzflip, calling him out for his nonsensical questions, Melissa is the only one who's really trying to teach. She's the only one out here trying to make Queenzflip understand what he's missing. She's the one offering him some real guidance, giving him the benefit of the doubt. And honestly, this is why Melissa is a star. You can't help but appreciate the fact that, in a world full of people roasting each other, she's the only one stepping up to show some compassion. Let's give credit where credit is due. Melissa Ford is in there trying to make things work, trying to teach Queenzflip and help him see where he's going wrong. But here, the problem, not everyone is on the same page. The rest of the crew is laughing at Queenzflip's expense, but Melissa's out here trying to keep the ship afloat. She's trying to make sure the man learns and grows from the situation instead of just being ridiculed for his ignorance. But here's the thing, though. There's only so much you can do for someone who's not willing to learn. The sad truth is, Queenzflip might not even be aware of how ridiculous his questions sound. Maybe it's all part of the act. Maybe he's intentionally playing dumb for the cameras. But either way, the fact remains. He's the one that's got to take responsibility for his actions. If you're asking questions that make you look like a fool, then it's time to stop and take a look in the mirror. It's time to learn Queenzflip. It's time to step up. What we're really seeing here is a fundamental issue that many people in the podcast world face: the inability to teach and learn in real time. Too often, podcasts turn into a game of one-upmanship, with people trying to outdo each other rather than help each other grow. This is where Joe Budden and the crew can learn something from Melissa Ford. Instead of just roasting Queenzflip for his questions, maybe there's a better way to go about it. Maybe they should take a step back, calm down, and teach him the ropes. Show him how to ask better questions, how to engage in meaningful conversations, and how to make the most out of his platform. We've all been there. We've all been in situations where we don't know something and we feel embarrassed. But that's the beauty of learning. When you're in a room full of people who are willing to teach you, you have the opportunity to grow. And that's what Queenzflip needs. He doesn't need to be roasted every single time he opens his mouth. He needs someone to guide him, to show him how to engage in a more meaningful way. Because here's the truth: no one's too far gone to learn. It's just a matter of being willing to accept the lessons that life is offering. So where does that leave us? We've got a podcast crew roasting Queenzflip for his dumb questions, but we also have an opportunity for growth. Queenzflip has a chance to evolve, to stop asking questions that make him look like a fool, and to start asking questions that actually further the conversation. And the rest of the crew, well, they've got a chance to step up and show that they're not just in it for the laughs, they're in it for the learning too. At the end of the day, this whole situation is a perfect example of what happens when you put egos in a room and forget to focus on the learning process. Queenzflip, despite his ignorance, has the potential to grow. Melissa Ford is the one showing him how it's done, while the rest of the crew takes the easy way out, laughing at him instead of lifting him up. It's a missed opportunity for everyone involved, but it's not too late for change. Maybe, just maybe, the next time Queenzflip asks a dumb question, the crew will take a step back and offer some real guidance instead of just roasting him. Maybe they'll all learn a little something about teaching, about patience, and about the real power of a podcast that's more than just about clicks and views. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, it's that the world is full of people who are willing to learn, but only if they're given the chance. And so I leave you with this, folks. Sometimes the loudest person in the room isn't the one with all the answers. It's the one who's willing to learn, to grow, and to ask the questions that really matter. So let's hope that Queenzflip, along with the rest of the crew, gets it together. Because this could be the moment where they all level up, if they're willing to listen.